Hey planner friends, welcome back to the Planner Hoot. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. I wanted to share with you guys my process in changing a routine. This is actually very new for me, but I feel like lately I have just kind of been trying to keep up every single day because my schedule is always different every day. I adjust it to my husband's work schedule, and so sometimes he's working nights, sometimes he's working days, and so I feel like my days just are very different every single day. And now that I am incorporating a few new things to my morning routine, I really want to make sure that the routine I build is going to be a routine I can keep no matter what work schedule he's working and still be productive and feel productive. So if that's something you're interested in, then I invite you to stick around. I typically don't talk through my process, but if you're in for a treat, then let's see what happens. But if not, you can definitely forward the video and go 2 or 3 times the speed if you just kind of want to see the end of the video and what I end up doing for my routine change. So yeah, let's get into it. So I usually use my weekly inserts from Laurel Denise, and I use this as a weekly time block. I don't usually do a daily time block because for me, my days just kind of go in different ways and who knows what ends up happening. But I do like to weekly time block because it just helps me see what my week ahead is going to look like. And I usually only do that when I have a lot of either appointments or client meetings that I kind of need to structure around my current week. And so this is going to be, I think, useful for what I'm thinking I need, and that is going to be this reset of a routine for myself. And so I usually work around what my husband works, and so there's a couple of things that I want to incorporate into my routine. And the first one is going to be a actual workout schedule that I'm going to stick with, and not so much schedule, but the time. So I do work out 5 days a week, but sometimes either I snooze or I start really late or I'm attending to my husband's schedule and things like that. So my time that I go and work out changes every single day, and then that throws everything off because after I work out, then of course I have to come and shower and have breakfast, and then I like to do my Bible study, which is the second thing that is on my list that I really want to build into a more structured flow of my day. And I do this every single day. But so my work week, or my work time, should I say, starts so differently because the first thing I do, which is my workout, is off schedule all the time. And so I just want to make sure that it's staying consistent so that my time is just more structured. And I think it's going to help me just be more zen throughout the day and not feel like I'm trying to race time. The other thing that I always love to set aside is going to be my focus time. And that is, of course, on my family business work days, which is Monday through Friday. That's technically my 9 to 5. But I like to have that structure time so where I know that that's exactly when I'm focused on. Now, technically, yes, I'm my own boss and I can change it around. But again, I really like structure. As you all have seen my videos, you know that I'm really anal about that. I love to have that. And then I do also like to have client time. And what this means is I usually have set time frames when I'm going to have my coaching calls or my client follow-ups. And this is usually built into my client contracts. And I do it around the times when I know my husband's working day shifts. And that is only because he's obviously not here throughout the entire day. So the house is really, really quiet. And that's important to me. But if it just happens to be on a day that he is working evenings, I try to do it in the later times because he's not home, but not during the day because he sleeps throughout the day. So you can see how my schedule is kind of adjusts to that for that specific reason. And what else do I like to make time for? And then, of course, I have like my reset and like evening time, which I don't really schedule in, but I'm just going to put that there so that I know that that's part of my entire process. So there's 2 things that I like to make a note of here. So when my husband works days, we wake up at 4 because he is out the door by 4:30. And then when he works nights, I wake him up at about 3:45 because he still has to be out the door by 4:30. So he works from 6 to 6. So whether it's 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening or 6 in the evening to 6 in the morning. When he works in the mornings, he is home by 7:30, and that's when we have dinner. And when he's working evenings, he gets home by 7:30 a.m. And then he actually does go to the gym when he's working nights. So he's usually home by about 9, and that's when he'll have breakfast. Everything will be ready for him to rock and roll, and then he'll like shower and go to sleep. So he sleeps during the day. So for the evening time, I like to schedule the evenings as my focus work also for clients. And like I mentioned before, I don't like to schedule anything ahead of time during this time, but it's more of like what I need to focus on for work. That way it's really structured in my planners that those are some tasks I need to take care of. And then when he's working mornings, these are the times when I really like to do like appointment times or meetings or anything like that, because I know that it's going to be quiet and it's really structured. So I leave some time available, but again, I like to just have an idea of what the week is going to look like, and then day to day I can make a plan. It also helps, well, I think it's important to know that, again, my coaching calls are scheduled ahead of time in the contract, and I do that on purpose so that I can plan around this specific schedule, because this doesn't change. And then when he's off, there's days that he's off for 7 days straight, so there's no working. So he is either at his shop welding or doing something, and so I don't necessarily like to schedule anything other than like if we have doctor's appointments or anything like that, because those are his days where he doesn't have to go to work. And so those are his free days to catch up on, but I'll schedule anything that we have to take care of. So I don't really schedule anything for clients around that time, but I have that open time frame of if anything comes up, I know where in the week I can go ahead and, structure that out. So that's what I like to, focus on. So with that said, I need to kind of plan around and see what my idea is here. So my workouts, they usually take me about an hour and a half if I do cardio every single day. If I don't do cardio, it's an hour. We all love to avoid cardio. So I still am going to put my 1.5 hours there. My Bible study, so this is really new to me as far as how much time it's taking me, because I've done the year in the Bible where I just read through it, but this year I really want to study it. So I'm reading through the year-long Bible study, but I'm taking the time to read, study, and watch commentary. So it takes me a lot longer than I really thought it would. So right now, I'm going to put it's 2 hours. I've averaged my time audit for the last couple of weeks, and it's been about the 2-hour mark on average. So that's what I'm going to kind of give myself. And then during Lent, I'm adding in an additional Bible study. So I'm going to give myself that max of 2 hours. And then if I really need to add in additional time, I'm still going to have, the weekends, because this is essentially just going to be for my Monday through Friday. And I always treat my weekends as those things I need to catch up on. And so I can designate that time if I need to. I'll just make a note of it. But that's kind of going to be my max time frame for that. My focus time for Puddin' Cups, I usually do, it's like our busy time is from 10 to 4. That's like when the most emails and calls and before UPS gets here. And so that's really my focus time, but I like to be at my desk by 9:30. So I'm going to put 9:30 to about 3 o'clock is really going to be like all in time. Ideally, sometimes it's going to be less, sometimes it's going to be more. And then my client time really does change. So like I mentioned, when it's the morning shift or he's working in the mornings and he's not here during the day, if they call me throughout the day, then I'm happy to help. And I usually will put like a 4 to 6 time frame. But if it's in the evenings, then I like to do in the evenings because he's already at work. But during the day, I can't really do that since he's sleeping. Maybe once we get into the house, it'll be different. But right now we're in a really tiny apartment. And so if I sneeze, like he'll wake up. So yeah, so either way, that's kind of what I like to do. But these are essentially like my focus things that I want to incorporate into my routine, because this kind of will change depending on his work schedule. But I have an idea of what my week is going to look like if I set with this specific schedule. So with that said, I think that if I stick to, let's see, it's hard because do I want to wake up at 4 every single morning? No. Usually I will do it just for his morning shifts, and I'll adjust my wake up time whenever he's working evenings, because since he doesn't get home till 7:30, I'll be like, I don't have to wake up till 7. But then I go with him to the gym at 7:30, and then everything goes boop. So I'm going to just do where if I wake up, so this is option A. And I think this might be, I love how I put option with an A, option with an O. This might just be the ideal thing, is if I just do a 4 o'clock wake up call every single day, then I technically have from 4 a.m. to about 9:30, that is going to be for workout and my Bible study time. And then breakfast and showering, and then being able to be at my desk by 9:30. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's almost 5 hours that I have to myself to figure it out and do what I need to do, and then be ready to work by 9:30. And this is where I feel like my mental peak is from like 9:30 to 1. That's like where I have like my mental peak, where I'm like really, really focused in, but I want to push myself a little bit there. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So this isn't going to be like perfect or anything, but this is just so I can get an idea. So if I wake up at 4 a.m. And then I have whatever I need to do, and I am working out. So let me go back here. So he's out the door by 4:30. So then I can be out the door by 5. So if I'm out the door by 5, my gym is about 5 minutes away. I have no excuse. So I can say that if I'm working out at the latest from 5:30 to 6:45, like that is a good hour and 15 minutes that I have to really, really focus on whatever workout that is for the day, and then still be able to get home, have breakfast, get into my Bible study, and then really start my day. Shower. I do shower. So if I do like from 4:30 to, let's just say 7 a.m., this is going to be wake up, get ready, work out, and then have breakfast. I think that's a great time frame. And then that way from 7 to about 9 a.m., this is going to be my Bible study time. And I'll be really focused. So I have those first 5 hours of like really setting the tone for a lot of things already. And then, being able to do my Bible study in peace and have focus. And then I'm ready to work from 9:30 to, let's just say 3:30. And this could be my focus work, my intended focus work, because obviously, schedules could change, appointments could happen, things like that. But ultimately from 9:30 to 3:30, this is my focus time. So that would give me about 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. to kind of have those extra hours to either take on additional calls that are not scheduled, or kind of catch up with additional work, or extend my focus time and focus work. So this is a good option. Now, this would be ideal for the morning shift that he works, and I can actually keep the exact same shift when he's off, because when he's off, he's off. So the only thing is figuring out how my 4 a.m. wake up call won't wake him up. And so, but I think that's going to be a good plan. Now, if he's working night shifts, and this actually works out because then he doesn't get home till about 7:30 p.m. when he's working. So I have plenty of time to, close all the electronics, do whatever I need to do, have dinner ready, and then we'll be in bed by 9. So I think that's great. That's a great morning shift time. And then even when he's off, I think that's kind of the plan. Yeah, so now let's see if he's working the evening shifts. So this is the one I kind of get a little bit spoiled with, because I will sleep in till 7 because he doesn't get home till 7:30. And then again, I go to the gym with him, and so then we're not home till about almost 9. And then by the time I have breakfast, shower, and then do Bible study after that, then I would be almost at 11, 12 getting to work. Technically, I'm my own boss, and I can do that if I really wanted to, but mentally, if I open my emails and I have so many emails already that are unanswered, I get overwhelmed. And so I really want to make sure that I have the same schedule. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm still gonna have to wake up at 4 a.m. no matter what, even when he's working evenings. Because what's gonna happen here is if he doesn't get home until 7:30, that is still giving me 4, 5, 6, 7, 3.5 hours of undisturbed time for myself and Bible study and everything. I can technically do Bible study in the morning when I wake up. So like from 4 to probably about 6 to do my Bible study and then get ready. Maybe. I can do my Bible study. So if I did my Bible study first and then, no, because that changes. That's the whole idea. See, I'm trying to compromise with myself, but no, the whole point is to have a routine where my workout is going to be at the same time every single day, and this routine is going to be the same. So I'm trying not to change my routine. So I have to remind myself that. So yes, I'm going to wake up at 4 and still do the exact same thing where I'm going to be working out up until at least 6:45. And so I'll adjust, what time I leave. Maybe I'm going to be done sooner because I have those additional 30 minutes. But let's be real, it takes me a good 45 minutes to actually wake up and get ready to go too. So give or take. But 4 o'clock a.m. time, guys, that is what I'm committing to. And so again, this will be my workout, get ready, have breakfast, and then do my Bible study time. So if I stick to this same schedule, then that means even if he's working evenings, he'll get home at 7:30, but he's gonna go to the gym. So from 7:30 to at least 9, I am still undisturbed. So I will have, and actually this could be back into 9 o'clock because this is the time where I'm doing my Bible study also. So you know what I mean here. So then I can still be able to get at my desk by 9:30 and then just be ready for that same flow of working until about 3:30 for my focus work. And then I now have, and this is where this also makes sense, because after 3:30, I think we all kind of hit a slump at that time, but it'll help me refocus because now I wake him up at 3:45 and he's out the door by 4:30. So he can have I have time to kind of wake him up and reset so that he can have a quick snack before I pack him dinner. I do meal prep on Sundays, so that's why there's not a lot of time here for like actual cooking, unless it's the evenings when I'm gonna put something in the oven or whatever, but that's planned ahead of time. So Sunday is my meal prep time where I schedule everything for the week. So that will give me that reset time. And then again, he's out the door by 4:30-ish. And now I can kind of reset again from like 5 to at least 7 to do any extra work that I need to do. Maybe my clients, we can schedule in something in the evenings if I have to, maybe if it's not scheduled already, but that time will be there. But this is also uninterrupted time for me to just be able to focus in or catch up on whatever I need to catch up on, and then essentially be back in bed and be in bed by 9. So see, that's kind of the goal here. So wake up at 4, go to sleep by 9. And that's going to be where I'm doing when he's working mornings or when he's off, and then even when he works PMs. So yeah, the great thing about this is if I can stick to this, I'm building this routine up. I'm already used to working out in the mornings. I've already started doing my Bible study time. But I think mentally, knowing that I have these designated times, it's going to help me focus when I need to focus. So I'm focused on my workout, I'm focused on my Bible study, and then I'm focused on getting to work, and I know what's ahead of me. And even if there are going to be some days realistically, obviously, even on when he's off, right, where there's appointments, there's doctor's appointments, so it's going to change my obviously focused time. But this is where I'll take advantage of being my own boss and making it work. But I know these things ahead of time. And so when I talked about it earlier that I usually do a weekly time block, that is the reason why. So this is just for me to really have a daily routine that I can get used to, because for the most part it's there. I feel like after 12, from 12 to 7, my schedule is usually the same, but it's this that fluctuates every single day. And that's what I need to really focus on, because this adjusting for me day to day throws off the rest of the day for me. Even when I know that I have a doctor's appointment or I have a client meeting, I feel like I'm oh, let me organize my client meeting now, and and so this is going to help me help this flow just really flow. And I'm not trying to keep up because I'm already focused. So aside from having my week and knowing exactly what my week looks like, knowing what my wake up time is and getting things done, that this actually helps me be more productive throughout the rest of the day, and knowing that it's essential for my day to be productive, this is the flow that I need to do. And I'm sharing that, but I'm also convincing myself of it at the same time. So now I'm going to make it pretty so that I can have this written out somewhere where I know what my routine is going to be, no matter what the day entails, no matter what my husband's work schedule is, because I'm so used to working around his schedule. So now I just need that reminder. And so I'm going to go ahead and make it pretty and stick to it. All right, friends, so this is what my weekly routine is going to look like, at least the ideal version of it. I really just needed something that was going to stick to being the constant in my life, because, my husband's work schedule is crazy. My work schedule can kind of adjust based on what my client is needing. And I do, like I mentioned, have specific rules around scheduling things with my clients, but I always like to have that flexibility for them if anything comes up. And so this is just going to help me stay productive, make sure my days are starting with a routine so that everything else can just flow and not feel like I have to keep up, or I have to race with time, or I have to make something happen and fit other things in if I don't do them in the morning. And so I'm really focused on just what's important to me and starting my day with that, and then just kind of going with the flow for whatever else the day holds for me. So basically I just made it a little bit nicer and kind of color coordinated it a little bit more, just so I have a better idea of what, I'm going to expect for that day. Again, obviously, if we have scheduled meetings or scheduled appointments, those things will, fall into that time as well. But ideally, if I have this as my structure, then I know what time frames I'm more comfortable with setting those appointments with, that I know I'm going to be either more productive or be able to fully commit to. So yeah, I don't know if this video was helpful at all, but if it was, I would really appreciate a like. But if not, let me know in the comments. I'm just curious. This was my first time kind of going through what my crazy brain is thinking and structuring it out to something more concrete in front of you guys as I'm doing it. And so yeah, if you stayed around this long, then I really appreciate you guys sticking around. If, as usual, you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one.